Hey, this thing isn't turning on. Meteor shower must be screwing with the signal.
Sir, the shield protects against that.
Well, something's wrong. And this equipment, it's crap. You know, I've been in this business 10 years, and where's it got me? Stuck in this backwater of a planet, that's where.
Zip!
I should have listened to my mother.
Zip!
What?
You're on!
What?
You're on!
Oh, shoot! Darn it. Good evening, and welcome to this segment of News from the Dome. I'm your host, Zip Osborne, coming to you live, as always, from the Dome Studios, right here on Tarian 347. In tonight's top stories, the pirate queen Nadia claims responsibility for the disappearance of a 24 Warlabeast caravan. And fire in the Skags. Last night, a blaze tore through the shantytown and displaced a dozen families. But first, a message from our sponsor, Zorcorp, powering your today and your tomorrow.
We at Zorcorp take great pride in our work and steadfast commitment to power the lives of more than 1 trillion people living on 84 planets across the galaxy. And you can become a part of the team. With more than half the galaxy still to be explored, there are vast opportunities in our sales and outreach departments. And there is always a need for more mining experts and mechanics for work at our processing plant. For more information, contact your local Zorcorp representative. Zorcorp, powering your today and your tomorrow.
Tonight's broadcast is also brought to you by Daisu Hoverboards and by Zach's Zorodite Mining Equipment, where you will always find what you need to succeed. Now to our headlines. A caravan of 24 Warlabeasts hauling 11 tons of basin coral intended to be turned into concrete for the planned hover train extension project was ambushed this morning. All 17 packers were released unharmed, but perhaps a little embarrassed, as the pirate queen Nadia, who has taken credit for the raid, sent them on their way, buck naked and shoeless. This is the 5th such raid that the pirate queen and her band of outlaws are accused of, and the reward for Nadia's arrest has risen to 10,000 credits. Our next story comes to you from the Skags, where a dozen families are left homeless after a fire swept through the neighborhood. Coming to you live with more is our reporter in the field, Elka Mismon.
Thank you, Zip. A fire swept through the Skags last night and destroyed an entire block of dwellings before being extinguished. Sadly, a dozen families have been displaced by the blaze. Neighbors were quickly coming together to rebuild, and hopefully these families will return to their homes very soon. Fire risk in the Skags is always high, since dwellings are oftentimes built with flammable scraps, and open fires are commonplace for cooking and heating.
You don't get it! They're taking people!
As you can tell, emotions are running high, but authorities have assured us there were no casualties, and that all those impacted by the fire are accounted for.
That's a lie!
Reporting from the Skags, I'm Elka Mismon. Back to you, Zip.
We extend our sympathy to those who are without shelter tonight. And we'd want to remind everyone that burning fires indoors for cooking or heating is always a risk and is not recommended. Let's move now to finance and weather. The price of Zorodite today hit a record 38 credits an ounce, which must be music to the ears of local hotshot Pike Bell, who just recently discovered a vein and pulled out over 50 ounces of the precious ore. And for the second time now, in an act of pure theater, the young prospector has taken to the streets of the Skags and shared his bounty with the town's most needy citizens. Our very own Elka Mismon met up with Mr. Bell on the streets of the Skags.
That's right, Zip, and boy did the young man put on a show. We caught up with Pike Bell and the Skags, pushing a wheelbarrow piled high with Zorodite, and being followed by a parade of screaming children. Pike then stopped in the middle of the road and began tossing the precious ore into the crowd of little ones. We asked Pike after the spectacle why the generosity and why the wheelbarrow. He gave credit for the idea to his great-great-great-great-grandfather, Pike Bell, whom he says did the same thing back on Earth during the California Gold Rush. And he is an amazing fella, Zip. He's only been working in the ore fields for a couple months, and already he's pulled out more ore than most miners ever find. And to top it off, Zip, he live streams his exploits, so anyone who wants can tune in and see what he's doing.
Well, I'll certainly tune in. Sounds exciting. That story reminds me. I want to give a shout out to all you newcomers who arrived last night. It takes courage and confidence to leave your home and travel halfway across the galaxy seeking your fortune. Stepping off that spaceship onto the platform, I'm sure was intimidating. The first thing you probably saw was a line of haggard beings waiting to board and go home, or in line at the hover train, having given up on their dream of riches and are going to work at the Zorcorp mine, where one can earn an income. If you were brave enough not to turn around and go back, you saw the huge concrete wall, 5 stories high, extending off in both directions. Behind it is the tower, double in height, dark and foreboding. But that tower and that wall is what protects us from all the meteorites that slam down onto the planet's equator every evening. You see that orb at the top of the tower, and the smaller ones running along the length of the wall? They create a web of Zorodite-powered beams, which protect us from those pesky rocks. It creates the dome shape giving our town its name. Well, once you stepped past that wall, I'm sure you were assailed by a swarm of pint-sized beggars and con artists. I hope none of you paid for a map to an ore mine. What I do hope is that you made it through intake and got yourself settled into one of the apartment blocks, got a good night's rest, and are ready to go. Now, all you need to do is maintain that confidence that brought you here in the first place. Work hard and don't give up. All of us here at the Dome Studios are rooting for you. So, good luck. Let's move on to weather. We'll see an increase in meteor storms this month. So keep aware of your surroundings and remember to get under the dome as soon as you hear the alarms. But if you are caught outside, be careful when seeking shelter in the numerous caves. You may find you're not alone. Moving on to transportation. Additional hover trains to the Zorcorp mining facility are being added to the schedule. Morning trains will depart from the dome hourly, starting at 6 a.m. daily. And Zorcorp would like to remind you that they have employment opportunities for able-bodied bipeds. Moving on to intergalactic travel. Portal workers in the Tarian system are threatening to strike as contract negotiations drag on. The one-day walkout last week resulted in long lines at the portals and caused delays for travelers throughout the Tarian system. Portal officials say they have made a generous offer to workers and expect to have the issue resolved soon. We'll close tonight with a story I'm sure will bring a big smile to your face. After being closed the past 2 months for renovations, today, our very own mayor, Big Bob Dixon, conducted the official ribbon-cutting ceremony, reopening the Stardust Saloon. The doors were open to eager patrons, longing for the generous pours and home-cooked meals prepared by Diana and her staff. The first saloon opened in the dome, the Stardust has been a favorite with prospectors, gobbling down a hearty breakfast before heading out to the ore fields, and for a well-earned drink after a hard day of breaking rocks. We're happy to see Diana back in business. And we're happy to provide you, our audience, with your daily fill of news from the Dome. So, until next time, good night and good luck. Next time on News from the Dome, we'll report on Mayor Big Bob Dixon's State of the Dome address. And Elka Mismon visits the ore fields and digs into the life of a Zorodite miner. I can't wait, and I hope you can't either. See you next time on News from the Dome. We at the Dome appreciate you listening. If you're enjoying this podcast, please share, subscribe, and like. Thank you.